and to ask you all to just make one small intention regarding your own ancestors. To really just think about one person that you may have known or known about, or maybe don't even know anything about. But I'd like to focus on that as I present to you this, my contextualization and reflection. There's a concept in Buddhism called eshofuni, and eshofuni is, or means, the oneness of life in its environment. And I can't think of anything more fitting than to understand our own impact on our environment. We enter a room happy and it's a room full of sad people. We can transform that just by our own presence as a human being. So I was fortunate enough to meet this incredible manifestation of fortitude and creative power embodied in one Dana King about 4 years ago. There was an abrupt and immediate connection. I too am an artist, and people like Dana, me, any person who has journeyed from one location of transformation to another have a stake in that great dividend of profundity, in knowing that something in their lives has shifted. James Baldwin said in 1962 on the creative process, he said, there are forever swamps to be drained, cities to be created, minds to be exploited, children to be fed. None of these things can be done alone, but the conquest of the physical world is not man's duty alone. They are also enjoined to conquer the great wilderness of themselves. The precise role of the artist then is to illuminate that darkness, blaze roads, see what I did there? Blaze roads through that vast forest so that we will not, in all our doing, lose sight of its purpose, which is, after all, to make the world a more human dwelling place. Regarding the Empress Dana King, she together with Illuminate have created a work that makes the city a more human dwelling place. Why is it monumental? Well, I'll get to that momentarily. That's the whole point of this. Why is Monumental Reckoning monumental? Her work in sculpture and in statuary art captivates because our lives intersect on that great highway of contemplation where we reconcile the locations of the Black body, not only in the public sphere, but also in our collective consciousness. I was working on it. I had the pleasure of being in the Soviet Union in 1990, and just prior to perestroika. Moscow is an enormous city. It's 50 miles in radius. Being driven around and witnessing their monuments was overwhelming. The monument to cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin jettisons upwards to a height of 45 meters. You have to crane your neck to look up at it. It dwarfs Moscow's immensity and its large buildings, and the scale of its monuments is telling the citizens something. Well, what is it telling them? It is telling the Russian people that they are puny and insignificant, and the party is foremost. This is emblematic of the influence of the state to control and disempower the spirit. In this instance, the state is not illuminating darkness, but exacerbating it. I am the third generation born free in my family line. My great-grandfather, Zachariah Davis, was born in 1847 in Lowndes County, Mississippi, which is now Columbus, that guy. My great-grandfather was the product of a rape. I've never found it fair nor equitable that I must undergo this reckoning alone. Fundamentally, this is my existential crisis. Earlier today, I saw a clip on YouTube of an interview of a MAGA person, an elderly white woman who hummed and with darting eyes couldn't even answer a question. What was the Civil War about? Without knowing it, that woman is trampling on my existence and many of our own. The privilege of her arrogance and ignorance is disturbing and monumental. Many of us are Marty McFly in Back to the Future with a sense of our fading away with a Polaroid as if we were never here. This is another reason why this work we're celebrating is monumental. I've had to deeply reflect on the fact that my skin color, as a high yellow brother, that affords me great privilege, is also resented by some of my Black brothers and sisters. It's also afforded me proximity to racism, which I wish I didn't have. I have to reckon that every day. Billy Paul's 1972 hit, Am I Black Enough For Ya? Rings in my ears often. I'm not biracial, but great-great-granddad wasn't Black and raped my great-great-grandmother. I then have to hear Florida's governor tell people who don't know what the Civil War was about that slavery was beneficial. That is why these figures standing around here are monumental. Candy Wiley said it best, I'm an artist and a thinker. So is Dana King. So am I. This isn't an occasion to be clinical, so I will simply say that to Dana King's surprise, when I told her that she had decolonized Golden Gate Park, she said incredulously, I did? I swear, verbatim. Words like defunding or decolonizing or, God forbid, reparations means somehow white people must lose something so that black and brown people can get something. No, no, and no. Monumental Reckoning symbolizes several things for many people. For me, it is the difficulty of existing as the progeny of a global system of oppression like that of chattel slavery. People willfully wish to make tepid the history of slavery and make it insignificant. No, once a slave, your children were slaves, their children were slaves, and their children were slaves. The greater world order and the very society that raised me and you conditions us. It still oppresses us perpetually, ignores and denies its impact or even its existence. It plagues us, it plagues me. Monumental Reckoning shows us where once stood a 130-year-old monument to a man contemptible stands 350 ancestors smiling upwards, where he who hated no longer is welcome. This is monumental. Decolonizing doesn't mean replace, it means to reorder. It means to recalibrate. It means to console the restless furies that force salted moisture from our eyes. I got really poetic there, excuse me. Why must I have to furrow my brow while attempting to understand that my dad risked his own black life to fight for our nation in a segregated military in World War II against tyranny, genocide, and hate in Europe, only to return to it in his homeland? When I asked him, he had no answers except he did what he had to do, and that's all he would say about it. When you hear about the book bannings and the Don't Say Gay laws and the expelling of duly elected black young Democrats from Tennessee's state legislature for standing up against guns, or a statewide university system denying a living wage to its faculty, CFA.
Yeah.
Sorry, I digressed. You know that it is monumentally difficult to do what Dana has done, but she did do it. The fact that the words lift every voice emblazoned above a temple to music is monumental. Looking at our world with the gaze, seeing what I need to see instead of seeing what always has been there, that is reckoning. I just want to close with this one statement from my mentor who passed away in November. His name is Daisaku Ikeda. He's a Buddhist leader and means a great deal to me, and I'm very honored to be able to share these words with you. And this is for you, Dana. The institutions of human society treat us as parts of a machine. They assign us ranks and place considerable pressure upon us to fulfill defined roles. We need something to help us restore our lost and distorted humanity. Each of us has feelings that have been suppressed and have built up inside. There is a voiceless cry resting in the depths of our souls, waiting for expression. Art gives the soul's feelings voice and form. Thank you so much. Please be blessed. Have a great, great weekend. Thank you.